So let's begin by taking 3 conscious breaths together. Breathing in deeply 3 times. And the deep in breath. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Here we are. The Yoga of the Royal Secret. There's a couple of them. We're going to look at another one today. From the Bhagavad Gita, the song, the music, the melody of the Lord, as interpreted by Sri Swami Satchidananda from the Living Gita with his wonderful commentary. Now I need to stop this for a second because I want to jump ahead to where we left off last week. And that's where we're starting today. We're starting with Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga. Doing things for others without expecting anything back is a form of worship. Doing things for others without expecting anything back is a form of worship. You coming here today to learn something and perhaps find something in yourself to make you a more loving person is a service to others. As long as you don't expect anything back, it's a form of worship.
And Karma Yoga is that the definition of Karma Yoga? I forgot, because we talked about that last week. I forgot what you said Karma Yoga was.
Karma Yoga is what we've done, what we do, what we will do, and it's the practice of dedicating that in service of others. There are different branches of yoga. We know about Hatha Yoga, that's making poses to get our body in shape. Pranayama is included in Hatha Yoga. Those are the breathing practices. What might be called Raja or Royal Yoga is sort of the yoga we're studying here. It's yoga as a lifestyle, how to lead your life in a large sense. And the practice of Karma Yoga is mindfully dedicating everything you do in service of others without expecting anything back. When we went down to Yogaville over the Christmas holidays and had a silent retreat, there was a time dedicated to Karma Yoga. And in this time of Karma Yoga, you could choose what it was you wanted to do, something in service of others. Some people went down into the brushland and cleaned up some brush to make the grounds more beautiful for others. Some went to a workshop that's on the premises there and did some tidying up and cleaning up. Service of others without expecting anything back. Some of us sat in a room and made little, I don't know if they were love bracelets or what, to give to prisoners in prisons so they could wear them and experience that others had them in mind. We're sending them healing thoughts. So that was the karma yoga we did down in Yogaville. If we're more conscious of karma yoga every day, we can be doing karma yoga all the time as a form of worship. So you might have wondered, well, I have two parts of my life. I go to church on Sundays, I worship, and then there's life. I prepare the taxes for others, I do my whatever, and whatever else we do. Whatever we do. You see, all those things can be karma yoga depending on how we hold it in our consciousness. And if we worship all the time by having everything be karma yoga, it's interesting. Life takes on a new shine and a new joy. And it's easier to make some decisions about whether we should do this or that. Particularly when it comes to those things that come up for you, you think, oh, I probably ought to do that. But then another part of you says, well, maybe not now. Maybe not now. Something I ought to do. When you look at it from the standpoint of karma yoga, everything you're doing is a form of worship. It's easier and more effortless to flow in to what you are called to do without mental perturbations and with just a feeling of satisfaction and joy. So, for example, when I go on my walks in the morning, after I come back, I often do some yoga stretches. Well, some of them are pretty intense stretches. And my mind remembers those intense stretches, and my mind doesn't like to do those intense stretches because they seem to hurt. Even though I know that afterwards I feel better and the muscles are better. So how to decide whether to do those yoga poses today when I get back or not? Well, it can be an issue, or I can have everything I do be dedicated to the service of others. Now, to be of use to others, I need to have a healthy body. If I have a decrepit body, I can't be very useful to others. And those yoga stretches make my body strong and vibrant and take my mind off my body. My body's great, doesn't ache, feels good, and I can be more useful. So, if I happen to have that attitude, and I don't always have it, life flows more gently and beautifully.
Thank you.
Doing things for others without expecting anything back is a form of worship, and it can be called karma yoga. Sometimes people ask me, this is Satchidananda, when I go to work and get my own salary, how can I call it karma yoga? This is especially true if there are issues with our work. For example, if we feel that, oh my God, if I don't work, I'm not going to get the money, and I need the money to do what I do. So I have to work to get the money because I need the money to do what I do. If that's your attitude towards work, you may not be able to participate in the work with a full flowering of who you really are. So here, Satchidananda poses the theoretical question, when I go to work and get my own salary, how can I call it karma yoga? It can be. What are you going to do with your salary? You are eating, you have clothing, you have a house to live in. all those things. The real question is, why do you want to eat? I see some people have been eating today. Why did you want to eat?
So I could go to work and give them more salary.
Eating is a touchy subject because we have a lot of considerations around eating, especially, over the holidays when there's a special kind of eating. We have so many considerations. When we were at Christmas, for example, in Las Vegas, my sister told me months before she was going to bring a jar of the spiced peaches that my mother bought when we were children because I always liked them. So she bought them months before Christmas, brought them, so I could have them for Christmas. All those considerations about eating. Huh?
Nice. Yeah.
It was nice. Of course, I had to
Do
eat
you
them.
still like them?
They're really sugary.
Yeah. I was thinking, you probably went, oh, my dear, goodness, yeah.
I eat them, but I don't eat as much sugar anymore.
Right.
So I ate them. It was Christmas. Why do you want to eat? Why do you want to dress? Now, I know it's cold, so that's a consideration. But why else do you want to dress? What are the considerations in your mind when you choose what to wear?
To be nice to others, to be, yes,
Pardon?
pleasant, to be pleasant, nice to others.
To present
That's
yourself well. Present yourself well. So it has something to do with others. How you dress, how we dress. It does have a lot to do with how we dress, don't we? When we're coming to church, we don't put our old raggedy things on that we use for gardening. No. We want to present ourselves a certain way. So, well, what is it? Does it have something to do with others, or does it have something to do with how we think about ourselves in case others don't approve or do approve? Why do you want to dress? All these simple things. Why do you want a house? To make money, right? Buy real estate. Over the years it goes up. No?
It's not the first reason.
Not the first reason, no.
Someplace to sleep and someplace that makes you feel safe.
Sleep and safe, yes. Why do you even want to live? Some people have suicidal tendencies. We've had a case in our own family where an individual committed suicide. They didn't want to live anymore. In the church, we have programs to help people who are suicidal. So, what is it about a person who is suicidal that they don't want to live anymore? What's missing from their lives?
Love is a really good answer.
Love is missing, I'm going to suggest that maybe the purpose of their life is not clear. So
Think about Robin Williams, he had all the love from everybody on the planet. And he just couldn't live anymore.
So why do we even want to live? What has something to do with our purpose? He's bringing up all these hypothetical questions so he can give you some answers to try on for size and see if they fit.
Because we feel that we have a mission.
We have a mission, yes. And what is your mission?
I'm still trying to find out what is my mission. I might have many ideas that my mission is, but I don't have the certainty. So I'd rather do everything that I think is my mission to fulfill what in my
So you're not sure what your mission is, you're still searching, but you do everything that you think might be your mission. And what are some things you think might be your mission that you do?
Well, I think one of my missions was to bring my son to this world, to nurture him, to support him, to guide him.
Your children, to support your children. Mhm.
Yes. And my other mission is, I think, as a human being, to be in charge of, not to be in charge of the world, but to add a little bit to whatever is every day and everything I could do. That is on my way, on my path.
So you want to add something to the world is also part of your mission. Good. Well, thank you for sharing, because when you share, we all think what our missions are as well. Thank you. Let's see what Satchidananda has to say about all this. To serve others, he suggests, is your mission.
And that's the only one. That's a little easy.
It's easy.
I was feeling overwhelmed.
Too simple, huh?
Yes.
Too simple to serve others. Yes, this is the royal secret. Our purpose in life is to serve others. It's simple. That's our purpose. When we stray from our purpose, what happens? When we somehow feel we have an I, me, myself, that isn't being respected, or we feel upset about something or angry about something, and our emotional body influences what we think. We forget the royal secret, which is our purpose in life is to serve others. This is interesting because we're all given emotions. We're born with them, thank you God. Sometimes we get upset when things don't go our way. We get angry. Sometimes things happen and we get sad. And yet Satchidananda is here to remind us that if we keep reminding ourselves through our spiritual practices that our purpose here on Mother Earth is to serve others, these other aspects of our being, our emotions, our thoughts, and so on, will come into alignment. Will come into alignment, and we can be at peace with all our emotions, even anger. In modern society, anger has come to be something that I believe biologically we weren't designed to experience. Biologically, we're designed to experience anger as an instant reaction to energize ourselves when something is not right in the environment right now. We observe it and we take action to right whatever it is that's happening, and then the anger dissipates. So anger gets the adrenaline flowing, which is what we need to energize our body to take care of something that needs to be taken care of in the moment. This is a natural anger. We get angry when someone is trying to harm our child. Angry. So we get a strength we never knew we had to protect our child through a God-given anger. Thank you, God. And after we finish protecting our child, we don't need the anger anymore, and the anger dissipates. Thank you, God. Unless we want to hold on to something. And that's the kind of anger that doesn't serve us very well. It's the anger that some people experience as being stoked by newspapers and social media. You should be angry about this, angry at that person, angry about this situation. So we have an ongoing anger that's trying to get us to do something, but mostly there's nothing we think we can do, because in some cases we feel helpless. So we're plagued with an unnatural anger. These spiritual practices can bring us back to our true center. What's our purpose in life? To serve others. When we refocus on our purpose in life, we can hold those anchors that come up in a different light. Our purpose is to serve others. So you have to look and see how that might work for you. Let's go on. If you're living to serve others, then you need to eat. How can you serve without eating? Without a healthy body. You have to fill up the tank so the car will go. You have to keep the engine greased and the car washed so the body's in good shape, so you can be useful. You have to have a garage for the car so it can get decent rest at night and have a place to fix the food. That's our home. All in line with our purpose in life. Can you do that without the salary? With that money, you equip yourself with enough energy to give the energy back to others. Money isn't money spiritually. Money is not money, it's energy. If you equip yourself with enough money energy, you can give that energy back to others. How much do you need? Well, it turns out we don't need billions. And if we had them, it might be a challenge for us to use that energy to give back to others. And we see that people with billions do have that challenge. Some people feel that they haven't done enough with all the billions they've collected. Jeff Bezos announced not long ago. By the way, he used to be a poor guy. Amazon wasn't making any money for years and years and years. But then when it went over the top and he made billions, I think he's the richest or one of the richest men around, something in him said, I need to make better use of the money. So he said he's dedicating $10 billion to charity, charitable purposes. Now, some people with minds said, well, you've got so much, that's not enough.
It's a start.
But I don't think that was his consciousness. His consciousness was, I want to start doing something. So with that money, he equipped himself with enough energy to give the energy back to others. A good role model. Then even your eating, sleeping, drinking become karma yoga because you do it with this intention. I'm only keeping myself fit to serve others. If I'm not going to serve others, I don't need to eat, don't need to sleep, I don't need to have a house, I don't even need to live. It's a pretty strong position.
Sure is.
That's a pretty strong position. Well, Satchidananda takes strong positions. He has dedicated his life to be of service. He did during his lifetime, and he was a role model for others to follow. So this was his attitude towards himself, perhaps a very high standard. He didn't need to eat if he wasn't going to be of service. And why sleep? Why have a place I call my own, or why even live unless my life is dedicated to my purpose, which is to serve others. Now, Satchidananda always likes to show both sides of things. Gets us thinking both sides. My life ought to be of service, or if it's not, what's that like? In a way, although he's a deeply spiritual man, he's a deeply intellectual man, so he sees intellectually both sides. He likes to present both sides. That's what he's doing here. Live to serve others. With that attitude, Then if your salary isn't enough for day-to-day expenses, you can demand a raise. See that? Good reason to get a raise. You thought you wanted a raise so you could have more money to buy more stuff. He's saying, no. Here's another way to look at it. You go talk to your boss, you say, boss, I'm serving you, but this money isn't enough. My family isn't provided for. You must give me more money so I can serve others. Making some fun with it, isn't he? You can even demand more money and still be a karma yogi. Why? That money is not for your personal pleasures. It's not just to satisfy your senses. Buy more things, have bigger things, sell the old things, get the new things. We've got a lot of outside noises joining us today, don't we? Banging, crashing around. Here we go. You're not overindulging in anything. You're just taking good care of yourself and others, like your children, under your care. That's also part of your duty. You can look at the call to serve others as a duty in life. What's your duty? To serve God and country, as you do when you're in the military, God, family and country. We can look at serving others as part of our duty. Just another way of holding it. I found this was true for me many, many, many years ago. My duty. So I use the word duty in different aspects of my life to remind me that that's my purpose in life. So I have those 4 characters I use in different places. There's a little reminder. That's my purpose, part of my duty. With the proper attitude, even with the raise in pay, you can't say you are personally getting something for your work. It's all for others. Satchidananda was such a dedicated person. He just saw this opportunity for everybody else, even though it may not fit totally with us right now. He was such a beautiful example of this. So he's a strong proponent of it. Then the entire life becomes karma yoga, a worship, serving others. If you're living for the sake of everybody, serving God and His creatures, every minute with every breath, you are worshiping constantly. So if you think in the back of your mind, you need to worship more, then if you're living for the sake of everybody and dedicating everything you do, even in retirement, serving God and His creatures every minute with every breath, you're worshiping constantly and are coming from a place of deep, deep spiritual peace. Oh, I have an exercise.
Okay.
We've got plenty of time for an exercise. This exercise supports both being of service and also sometimes before we can be of service to others, we have to address other issues in our personality. There may be other issues in our personality that get in the way of karma yoga. So this exercise, I've designed it to address those issues, as well as dedicating yourself to the service. So, shall we give it a try? Here's how I suggest we do the exercise. We'll get ourselves grounded with our feet on the floor. And I'm going to read each sentence of the exercise and also display it on the screen. If you're an audio type person, you can just listen. If you're a visual person, you can watch the screen or you can do both. I'll repeat the sentence, listen to it. Then together we'll say the sentence together. And then I'll leave a moment's silence where you can repeat the sentence to yourself so it becomes internalized. So 3 steps. Here we go. I am a radiant being filled with light and love. Together. I am a radiant being filled with light and love. Every day I am growing more financially prosperous. Every day I'm growing more financially prosperous. I have a wonderful job with wonderful pay. I do a wonderful service in a wonderful way. I have a wonderful job with wonderful pay. I do a wonderful service in a wonderful way. The more I have, the more I have to give. The more I have, the more I have to give. The more I give, the more I receive, and the happier I feel. The more I give, the more I receive, and the happier I feel. The more I love myself, the more love I have to give to others. The more I love myself, the more love I have to give to others. I accept that my purpose in life is to serve others. I accept that my purpose in life is to serve others. I now recognize, accept, and follow the divine plan of my life as it is revealed to me, step by step. I now recognize, accept, and follow the divine plan of my life as it is revealed to me, step by step. as we bring ourselves back into the room. Does anyone have anything they wish to share regarding the exercise?
I would like to have a little bit of help. My son wants to join the army. He is ready to register.
Your son wants to join.
The army. He's working with the recruiter.
Your son wants to join the army.
Yes, and he's working with the recruiter. He already passed some tests.
Working with what?
A recruiter.
Recruiter.
Yes, he went to recruiter and passed some tests.
Yes, and for years I have been trying to, deviate him because it's my only son, and I thought that, I didn't want it.
So he's your only son, and this is not your wish for him. Is that right?
Yes, and it's already 4 years that, I try to tell him, well, finish your school first and this and that, but this is the time that he said, I'm delaying my purpose in life, and I was going like, oh my God. I felt so guilty because his desire is to serve.
His desire is to serve, and he feels like he's delaying his purpose in life.
Exactly, and then I told him it's okay, let him go. And because before he was feeling kind of worried because he was leaving me alone, and he was telling me, Mom, you need to,
Oh,
try to get some life.
he was worried about leaving you alone. Yes.
And then I was busy, I couldn't, and I said, don't worry about me, because, me knowing that you are okay, I'm going to be okay, so don't
Yes.
worry. And now he gave that step, and I don't want my insecurities and my selfishness to, that energy to affect him. I
Right.
need to try to, open myself and pray that he will go through and he will get into the army, because he
Yes.
has little limitations. But he is saying that, I know this is my purpose. I know God. I know I will be helped to it.
So you want him to feel that you will be okay if he is okay,
Yes.
and yet you want to overcome the old hesitations that you had that haven't gone away entirely. Is that right?
Yes, and I want also I pray God that all the limitations that he may have will be cleared for him to fulfill his way.
So you're praying that any limitations he might experience will be cleared,
Yeah.
so he can head towards his purpose in life.
Yes. Yes, and I think I do have to do that for the next couple of months, so he's on his way.
So it sounds to me like you're choosing to be a very supportive mother and having his way be your way as well. Even though it's difficult for you because perhaps you have some fears that something might happen to him that you wish would not happen. And it's true, sometimes people go into the military and they experience terrible things. They come back home with what's called PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Also, people in the military are sometimes called upon to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. For example, to kill another person. Sometimes, depending on which role you have in the military. On the other hand, there are military roles where people serve in support capacities. Support. So I can see how you might have issues.
Yes, I do. And when I spoke once a little bit, he said he wants to save lives. And
He wants to save life.
when I hear that, it's kind of like I open myself a little bit more, and I say that if he wants that, I know God will protect him.
Morning, Sam. We're just finishing up. You're welcome. I think it's very admirable of you, well, whatever your hesitations are, to support your son. What I find here in my role, for example, as a facilitator in Second Tier Circle, that everyone is at a particular place in their spiritual life, spiritual path. And sometimes it's important for people to experience things that maybe we experience and wish they wouldn't, but maybe that's something they need to go through to find their own place. So it's a subtle thing to not want people to do things which could harm them, and yet be supportive so that people can fulfill their lives and find their own path. When I was a kid, for example, a young man, my father, when I was a young man, wasn't very smart. He didn't go to college, and just wasn't that intelligent. And my wife, my first wife, her father was a doctor, and so on. There was some comparison there. That was great. Something very interesting happened to me in my spiritual life. The older I got, the smarter my father got on my spiritual path. Until I realized, compared with the learning that some others got in school, he had a learning that surpassed all of that school learning. He had a compassion for others. He knew how to serve. He dedicated his life to be in service of others in his role. And he was a very satisfied and loved man. Well, here's what Satchidananda says to close this off. He says, your work has become worship, and every act is part of that worship. In Karma Yoga, all your work is worship, and every act is part of that worship. Any other sharing before we close? Karma Yoga, the royal secret.
Doesn't mean Karma Yoga is easy.
But actually, I think for me, it became easier now because I didn't know what was my vision. And I think now that I know, I have to just focus on that and everything is for me. Thank you very much.
Does your son want to make a career out of this, or just because it can be a good way for a young man to find a path in life, and you can look at it that way and think that it's going to be a great way for him to find his future.
I think he had it from.
And he can finish school while he's in the army, and
Yeah, he finished his associate degree and he was
Okay.
going to George Mason, and he got a scholarship because he was a very good student. He
Uh-huh.
got the President's Award or something. But he said, like, I have choice, but this is the one I have because this is my path. Since he was 2 years old, he used to find in places huts of military huts, and I think he has it very clear, which many people don't, but he had it very clear since he's.
So from the time of his youth, he's had this inclination to be a military person. There's another aspect, which as a man I will tell you, I'm not sure women have the same experience in life. When I was a young man, I wanted to prove myself. It was very important that I prove myself. This is part of a young man's journey, I think, to prove himself. It's important that a young man find his own particular path to prove himself and accomplish the great task. If somehow a person is inhibited from following his path, what he sees to prove himself, this could be a burden for him all his life. All his life. His lack of sense of fulfillment, of having proved himself. So to allow someone to go for it, whatever the dangers and opportunities, so that that person can experience a great challenge, climbing the mountain, and being able to say to himself afterwards, I did it. I did it. Somehow that seems to be part of the male makeup. So it's a gift you give him to support him in going for his challenge. It's a gift.
Your adventure encouraged.
We need to close now. It's after 11, so let's.
After 11?
We're just going to make a quick closure.
I'm sorry, I have to help in the.
Well, here's a quick Om to
Okay,
make you
Om.
prepared for your service. Let's take a really deep breath. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now let us run up to be of service.
Thank you so much.